Okay, we are back with the new draft class season, and our first interview of the year is Alex Johnson out of UCLA. How are we doing today?
Doing well, doing well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about what got you interested in football. Why did you start playing football?
I originally played when I was a lot younger. So I played like junior pee wee ball, I guess you would say, with my park. I played for the Carson Colts. And it's ironic because at that time I absolutely hated playing football. Like I was pretty good, but it just like I hated going to practice. I hated everything about football, honestly, back then. I was more of a basketball guy growing up. As I got to high school, um, ran track, played basketball, and then I picked up football around like my junior year of high school. Just because I was like, man, I really think I could do this, and it was around that time I really found my love for the game of football. Was still very inexperienced, but like I had all the athletic traits to that showed in my game. Like I could run, I could jump, like I was making plays here and there, stuff like that. And I mean, now you literally can't take football away from me. Like I love watching football. I sleep, eat, breathe football. Like it's my sport. So yeah, that's kind of my journey.
Yeah, and then if you started kind of a little bit later in your high school career, did you find it to be a little bit harder? Did it come a little bit more naturally?
Um, it kind of came. I would say it came naturally for me just because growing up I played a lot of different sports, which I think helped me just to like uh understand the like I guess that you could say the science of football, the science of the movements of playing the positions that I did and receiver and corner and stuff like that. And I honestly think that the long break I took from football helped me in the sense that I was so sort of new and fresh to the game that I kind of just was able to soak up all of this new information, and it kind of just developed into my body as I developed as an athlete more.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of people, like even Greg he was a wide receiver. Like, what was your kind of thought process? Was it the coaches that kind of helped you switch positions, maybe from corner to safety to defensive back?
Yeah, I would say the coaches, just like my ability to mirror routes was much better than my receiving ability, even though I would say I was a pretty good receiver. Um, just I think another big part of it was like I had kind of like a knack for the ball on the defensive side, which I kind of think talks or speaks to my instincts of being a defensive player. Just like I feel like I can see things happening before they happen, as they happen, and like you can kind of break down plays and make plays happen before they actually happen per se.
Yeah, I think that's obviously like the biggest part of being a safety, just being able
Right.
to be intelligent and read the plays. And then coming from Loyola into UCLA, what was that like? You guys had over the past like couple 3 years, you guys have had a lot of good recruits.
Hmm.
Dorian, Zach, those kind of guys. What was that like coming in with all of them?
I mean, I was pretty starstruck, to be honest. I came from Loyola after being the guy for 4 years there. I came in as a walk on to UCLA, so I was kind of like, okay, like this is kind of like the real deal. Everyone around me can play. All these guys are fast. Like, um, I was honestly just trying to like gauge the talent level, the speed level, the speed difference. Like the speed difference coming from high school is like so much different, even in practice. But as I came in every day, put in the work every day, being around those guys like Dorian and Greg, coming in with those such great players with great talent. I just kind of like built my confidence over time. Like, oh, like yeah, I can play with these guys. Like I'm putting in the same work that they are, and I think it's starting to show. And I just kind of built that over my time at UCLA, and it's kind of plateaued into where I am right now. And I think it's great for me just because like this last season was my obviously my best season that I've had, being that I got the most playing time that I did. But I feel like I still have so much further to go as a football player. Like I'm just kind of like scratching the surface at this point.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, since you said you could play, at the same level with those guys, do you feel a lot better about, your abilities knowing that a lot of them have made it in the NFL now?
Oh, definitely, yeah. I think a big thing that works to my advantage from what I've heard about the difference from college to the NFL is the speed is very not very similar, but somewhat similar to college. But a big piece in the NFL is your knowledge,
Mhm.
like the mental part of the game, watching film, like breaking down tape, looking at different players, the way they move and stuff like that, which I think is something that I do well that I've picked up throughout my years in college, and I think that'll help me a ton.
Yeah, and speaking of the NFL, I know Coach Lynn, obviously he was with you guys just for a short time, but I noticed he kind of brought a little bit more of that like NFL style defense. Can you talk a
Right.
little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Lynn helped me a lot just in my footwork, my technique, bringing in those concepts from the NFL, watching NFL game film, and even like breaking down clips from Michigan film that they brought over from the NFL. I mean, it was huge. Just seeing the route concepts that they do in the NFL, like two under center, two deep concepts, uh, zone drops, reading the quarterback's eyes, 3-step drops, a 5-step drop. Just small things that I picked up on while he was here, like really helped me a lot, and I think they'll continue to help me at the next level.
Yeah, and then speaking of the NFL, Quentin Lake kind of might have a similar path to yourself. Late round safety. Now he's full time starter on the Rams. Have you talked to him, just being like, "Hey, what can I learn from you about being a safety in the NFL?"
I haven't reached out to Q Lake in a bit, but it's funny you bring that up just because being around UCLA and being there when Q Lake was there, I kind of tried to model my game after him. I just felt like I loved the way he played. I loved the way he saw things. I loved the way he talked about what he's seeing in film and like watching him in practice. And I think that we kind of are on the same level as like seeing plays, breaking down film and stuff like that, and being able to like translate that to the field to making plays and stuff like that. But Q Lake is definitely somebody I got to reach out to because that's my guy for sure.
Yeah, and then you talked about it a little bit earlier, your record-breaking season in your last season here at UCLA.
All right.
I think I might know your favorite play of the year, but I'll let you I'll let you say it.
Are you talking about SC?
I think that was probably your best play of the year.
Yeah, I think so too. Just I honestly think that play was a culmination of my time at UCLA. And honestly, in the moment, it wasn't that big of a thing for me. I just like I honestly missed the tackle on that play, and my coach got on me after I came to the sideline and got on the phone with him. But I think it was a combination of being in the right place at the right time and
Yeah. I
putting in the work.
noticed you kind of crept down a little bit into the box, and
Right.
then yeah, and then kind of had
Yeah.
the fumble recovery.
Right. Yeah. That play, I want to say we were in a nickel blitz, some nickel form of a nickel blitz play, and I came off the edge, but since it turned into a run, I couldn't really get upfield, so I just kind of tried to skate, and then he kind of like ducked in around me, and then it honestly is to this day is still a blur, just picking the ball up and scoring a touchdown because it's something I never thought I would do, but yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and then leading the Pac-12 in interceptions. How does that feel to be the final Pac-12 leader in interceptions?
I mean, it's awesome. It's kind of surreal. Like I don't think I got a chance during the season to really like soak that part in. This being the final like Pac-12 season,
Yeah,
and like I've been watching a lot of basketball as of late, and just seeing like the Pac like some of the Pac-12 schools in March Madness, and like like this is it for the Pac-12. Like, how do you feel about that? But yeah, I mean, it was awesome leading the pack in interceptions for the last time. I honestly think if I had a couple more years in the pack, I would have broke a little bit more records. But yeah, it was awesome.
yeah, and it's the most interceptions by a Bruin since 2009.
Yes, sir.
So, what do you think, in your opinion, is it just your work ethic? What do you feel like kind of contributed to your great season?
I think it's a combination of that. Definitely putting in the work. Definitely film study. Shout out to my guy Kenny Churchwell, putting in the hours with him. And then I think it was just, I mean, that team and that defense in particular was very special. I mean, we were in constant communication throughout the whole year, making sure everybody was on the same page. I mean, we obviously had our guys on the defensive line hunting up front, which helps. Great linebackers like Femi and Kane and Darius in the middle. And then honestly, from the jump, I just tried to make sure that I was as consistent and in the right positions for the most part, just to be able to make those plays, just because you don't really have to go out of your way to like, oh, I don't have to get out of my third to go across the field to make this crazy play. Like if you do your 111th, then good things will come to you, I feel like.
Yeah, I think a big part of it, the defense being so like good the last couple of seasons, has been obviously Layatu Latu. Like we
Right.
got to talk about him.
Yeah.
And the Murphy twins as well. Shout out. So what do you think? You feel like you had a little bit easier of a job just because those guys were getting after the quarterback so fast?
Oh, I mean, definitely. Putting the fear in QB's hearts and the O-line hearts. I mean, it definitely helps on the back end. Like I don't have to worry about covering for 5, even 10 seconds a play. Like when I know the ball has to come out right now, I can just sit, I can slow pedal, I can play catch.
Yeah.
It helps a lot. It helps a lot building your confidence as a DB, having those guys up front. And then I think it works both ways. Like when the coverage on the back end was tight, it made sure that the quarterback had nowhere to throw. So it's a guaranteed sack either way.
Absolutely. And then you've mentioned in the past that Jalen Ramsey is a famous athlete you admire.
Yeah.
How do you try to emulate his style of play? Like, tell me a little bit more about it.
Definitely. I mean, he's a little different build, a little stronger. We're almost about the same height, but just his tenacity that he plays with. I think he has a great mentality when he steps onto the field. I mean, I'm a Jaguars fan, so that those years he was on the Jags, like I loved that defense, just the way they approached everything, the way they attacked the ball when it was in the air, and I just I honestly feel like one-on-one, either when I'm in zone coverage or I'm in man-to-man, I feel like if the ball's coming my way, then I have a chance to make a play on the ball.
Yeah, I've been a Rams fan, so some of the like hits he has thrown out on people are just amazing. Like
Yeah,
I still wish he was on our team.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the past like couple years though, were you a Jaguars fan just because of Saxonville? Like how did that? Because you're from California, right?
I am from California. I've never left California, and I get that question a lot. So I played a lot of Madden growing up. So I always just kind of flocked toward the Jaguars because I like their uniforms, and I just kind of stayed a Jags fan. And that 2017 year, it just all came together until it didn't. And we played the Pats, but like. I love Blake Bortles. I love Allen Robinson, Allen Hurns. I mean, like the list goes on with that team. That team was great, and unfortunately, it got kind of blown up after that year. But yeah, I'm still a diehard Jags fan through and through. No switching up.
And is there a little part of you that's like, yeah, I kind of want to go to the Jags,
A little bit, just a little bit. I mean, obviously, it'd be great to stay in California, but. The Jaguars, that would be amazing.
Yeah. And then at the recent pro day, you guys had 31 NFL teams present. How did you kind of prepare for, showing out in front of the scouts and everything?
So I trained up in Thousand Oaks at Sports Academy. And it was where Zach Charbonnet actually trained the year before. And I actually was the only guy training there. Like I didn't have a large group of guys. It was just me. So I kind of guess it allowed me to, I guess, more so visualize what pro day would be like, just being by myself. My 40 prep, my 3-cone shuttle, stuff like that. Just like, okay, let's see how I run this when I add that pressure on myself when like, okay, the whole league is right here and they're watching. Like, how do I do?
Yeah.
But besides that, I just tried to like not put as much pressure on myself. Like I definitely was nervous going into the event, at the event. But after I jumped my vert, I was just like, yeah, this is just another day at the office, honestly. This is what I trained for. And it just kind of came naturally to me.
Yeah. You guys had a lot of like cool guests as well. Did you get to talk to like any of the alumni a lot, or Steph Curry was also there?
I did see. So I didn't get to talk to. I talked to a lot of the alumni. I didn't get to talk to Steph, but I did see Steph. I saw CP3. I saw Johnny Manziel, and it
Yeah,
was funny just because I kind of like I was locked in for most of the day, but I kind of after things started going on and I was getting the numbers that I liked, I kind of tried to like loosen up, try to have more fun. So I was just like warming up, like rapping to some songs. And I looked up and I was like, that guy looks like Steph Curry. And all of a sudden I see people kind of flock over to him, start taking pictures. I'm like, yeah, that's Steph Curry. But yeah, I mean, I got to talk to Greg Dulcich. He came back and watched, which was pretty cool. Some other guys like David Preby were there, Bo Calvert. So yeah, it was awesome seeing all those guys coming back and showing support. Just getting to chop it up with them.
yeah. Something that I kind of noticed when I was prepping for this interview with you was how how many times you've been on the academic honor roll. How do
Right.
you manage your time, and what motivates you to do well academically as well?
I try to approach everything at the same level. Just, I mean, I think from the moment I got to UCLA, um, there was no off switch with how I performed in the weight room, on the football field, or in the classroom. It was just kind of like the same level of greatness that I was trying to achieve. And I mean, when I first came in, like my mom and my dad made sure that like they were like, you get your diploma first, and then football comes second. So I mean, school was something that just it was a no question. It was a no brainer. Like I had to. If I wasn't on the honor roll, then I felt like something was up. So that was just kind of like the standard I held myself to on every aspect of being at
Yeah.
UCLA.
And then playing in the LA Bowl.
Yeah,
Tell me a little bit about playing at SoFi Stadium.
it was awesome. Like
Yeah.
I went to a Browns versus Chargers game at SoFi to see Demetric Felton and Josh Kelly a couple
Oh,
years
yeah.
back, and that stadium is actually insane. It's like straight out of a video game. So being able to just walk around that stadium and play that game there was awesome, and ended up getting an interception, which was also cool. But that stadium's awesome. The atmosphere is amazing, and I mean, it was awesome because the LA fans got to come out and show
Yeah.
support.
So much closer to campus than the
So
Rose
much
Bowl.
closer. Yeah, it was awesome.
And then obviously a big part of that game was Ethan Garbers kind of leading the team to a win.
Yep.
What do you feel like, kind of fueled that performance? And did you feel like momentum was, they talk about momentum all the time. Did you feel the momentum kind of shift in your guys' way?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the first half we just came out a little too flat. We got off to a slow start on both sides of the ball. And I think when we came into halftime, we just were like this is the last game of the season. We got nothing to lose. Like, let's just go out there and play. And I think things just started to go our way, and we never lost faith in Ethan Garbers, and he proved to us why he was the starter then, and he balled out. I mean, his composure was amazing that game, and I think he's got a great mentality that just helps him to like push through tough moments. So yeah.
Yeah, and then with the rest of your draft class, the rest of your teammates going in, is there anything that the coaches have kind of tried to preach before, during pro day preparation? Is there any like one central message that you got from the coaches?
I would say just like don't take anything for granted, just looking back and on my journey and coming in with guys like Kenny Churchwell and Josiah Norwood, just like we've come so far, and it's been such a long time. So it's awesome to just look back on some of those moments and try to cherish all of them and remember all of the guys and all the friends we made, all the certain games, little funny moments, just going up to dinner and small stuff like that. So yeah, just try to like hold on to those moments, and they told us to just like cherish them for as long as we can, because these are the guys that are gonna show up to our weddings and stuff like that, and these are our brothers for life. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Absolutely. And then kind of shifting a little bit towards draft stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever go into, the mock drafts and just like, oh, where am I projected to go? What are my projections looking like?
I I do, yeah, a little. I try not to get too caught up in stuff like that, but I mean, it is hard to not look, you
Yeah.
know. Um, like coming from myself personally, I could have never imagined that I'd even be in this position like a couple years ago. So, I mean, yeah, I'll definitely take a peek every once in a while.
And then you've seen throughout your whole UCLA career, you've seen a lot of defensive kind of coach turnover.
Hmm.
How do you think that kind of plays to your guys' ability as a defense? To, okay, Lynn left, let's do better. You know what I mean? Like the turnover from defensive coordinators to defensive coordinators.
I think as 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 easy as it is to take that as a negative, I think a lot of, at least my mindset and a lot of guys' mindsets, whenever that did occur, was like, this is just a new challenge. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's nothing that we're gonna shy away from. And then on another note, it's something that I think can honestly help you, just because you spend a year, you spend 2 years taking down a defense, digesting all of the notes, all the ins and outs, and different little intricacies in it. Um, and that defense coordinator leaves or moves on, or something like that happens, and a new guy comes in. I think you're just more prepared and more uh, yeah, more prepared for what's coming in, just because you're more well versed in football knowledge. You have an understanding of different zone drops and techniques, and stuff like that. So I honestly think, I look at it in a positive light.
Yeah. And then, did you guys have any interesting play calls on defense?
Testing my memory here. Let's see. Interesting play calls.
Like, you always hear those corn dog, T-Rex.
Yeah. I don't think we had. I'm honestly blanking here, but I don't think we had anything too crazy. Like, yeah, I can't honestly can't remember anything.
I don't blame you. I'm sure you're really tied up in film and everything else right now. Okay, on to the fun ones. I noticed you're a video game guy.
I am a video game guy.
What are some of the games you're playing right now? And then what are some of your favorite all-time video games?
So I guess I'll start with all time. I used to be a huge Madden guy until they ruined it. So I honestly won't touch Madden now. But I mean, like,
I
I
mean,
had
if you're in it, I think you might have to touch it though.
that might change a couple of things, but I had crazy hours on Madden. I was playing weekend league, Madden Ultimate Team, like every day basically. So those that's kind of like my OG side. But right now, I'm really big into Fortnite. Get on the game with my boys, squads, trios, duos, whatever it is. I love racing games. I'm big into Formula One, so I'll play F1. I'll play Forza Motorsport. And besides that, I have gotten into MLB The Show because I'm really big into baseball as well. So that's what I've been playing.
All sports. No 2K?
Yeah. No 2K in there. I cannot play 2K. I just can't.
And then when the game comes out this summer, NCAA,
Yeah.
is that something you're going to be playing as well?
100%. Yeah, I'm a big NCAA guy. I can't wait for it to come back, and I mean, it's gonna help that I can play with my boys, and
Yeah,
I'll have
absolutely.
Mike out there, so it'll be awesome.
Yeah. And then music can be such a big part of, an athlete's preparation and everything. I saw also that you are a Swiftie. Is that
Yeah,
part of the pregame hype playlist?
it is. It's kind of filtered out as of now, but it definitely was. I've gotta update my music a little bit. I find myself listening to a lot of old stuff or just like the same stuff, but I'm really big into a little bit of older generation of music. So I'll like got some Sam Cooke in there, Erica Badu, Sade, Amy Winehouse, just some smooth stuff to calm the nerves. And it's just like, I mean, it's just great music. So yeah.
Yeah. I ask all my guests. I have a playlist of everyone I've ever interviewed,
Hmm.
and I would like you to pick one song to add to the playlist.
One song.
One song.
Let's go. Uh, Love is a losing game. Amy Winehouse.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
And then, are you into like what keeps you occupied outside of football? Like, I know obviously probably you're really busy right now, but let's say the draft stuff isn't there. Besides video games, what else are we doing right now?
Going to the beach with my girlfriend Hannah, or hanging out with my boys like Josiah Norwood. Honestly, let's see. Beach is a big one. I like to cook a little bit, maybe throw some baking in there. And besides that, I mean, I would call myself a little bit of a movie buff, and I love like really good drama TV shows. Like I'm a big Game of Thrones guy, Succession. Um, so I mean, give me some popcorn, chill at home with a nice movie. Like, what more can you ask for?
Yeah. Do you do Letterboxd?
I don't do Letterbox. I don't.
I tried it. It's a good way just to get a list of everything you've ever watched. I mean, it's crazy how many
I
you can
might have
just
to get on that.
yeah. And then, do you have a bucket list? And if so, what is on that bucket list?
I don't have a formal bucket list, but I have always wanted to go skydiving because I think I would really enjoy that. Um, yeah, that would probably be number one on the bucket list.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then, do you have any rituals or superstitions for before games?
not really, nothing crazy. Um, yeah, I am a very methodical person in the sense that I like to do the same things and I don't like to switch things up on game
Yeah.
day or leading up to a game, but I don't have anything crazy like, oh, no one can talk to me, like I have to have this certain meal or anything like that because I feel like that's a little bit too much stimulation or is too much to think about for my brain, so I just kind of like try to straight and narrow path through a game or before a
Make it
game.
as smooth as possible.
Exactly.
Now we're moving on to the fan questions.
Awesome.
These are submitted by Bruin fans. How did you feel about wearing the throwback jerseys this year?
I would absolutely love it.
Yeah.
I I actually got the chance to uh, do the photo shoot with Kosin Yankov for the throwback jerseys, and I think they are top five, not five in my opinion, in college football uniforms this past year. So I would love to see those make a return.
Yeah. Did you get to wear any other unique jerseys or just the white and the blue while you were at UCLA?
Just the white and the blue.
Just
That's
one.
it. I was one year after they had like the all whites and the all blacks and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then we got what changes have you seen from last year since Lynn left?
You know, I kind of was out of the program around the same time he left, right with the bowl game. But I
Yeah.
mean, so I wouldn't really know per se. But what I would say to that question is that I think the UCLA defense is in great hands with Coach Malloy. They got a great staff still over there with Norwood and Coach Whitfield and the new guys that they just brought in. So they're gonna have those guys right either way.
Yeah, speaking of the coaching, I think everybody saw the video of how hyped the whole team was that Coach Foster got hired.
Right.
What's your experience with him? Maybe you don't have experience with him, but what have you kind of seen from him so far, and just like as a coach and as a human being?
Coach Foster's just a great all around guy. Like he lives, breathes football. He loves the guys. He loves UCLA. So I mean, what more could you really ask for as a coach? And I think just speaking to him as a person, he was one of the few coaches that really uh, kept me on the straight and narrow path while I was at UCLA. Like a lot of my career was pretty tough, just being a walk on and trying to make a way and get a scholarship and see the field and stuff like that. So he always kind of gave me little words of encouragement to keep my head on straight and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's a great direction for the program.
Who are some guys you expect to be set up in the back? Oh, to step up in the back end of the defense now that you're gone.
Uh, I would say Joshua Swift for sure, just because he's been around for some time now and he's kind of the vet now. DJ Justice is another guy I think it's his time to step up. Gosh, let's see. I mean, all around the DBs are. I think the great thing about our DBs is that from top to bottom they're ready to go. Like whenever their name is called, like it's kind of a next man up mentality. So I think the coaches will have all those guys ready to rock.
Yeah. And this is always my final question to everybody that I have on. What is something you've learned in your career playing football that you feel like the general audience could use in their everyday life? Piece of advice.
That is a great question. I would say football has taught me to really give it your all, and I guess not so much in the cliche sense of like, oh, like always give 100% effort. Just like football is a game that can be taken away from you at a moment's notice, and I think that in all aspects of life, like why wouldn't you give it your all, like if you've got really nothing to lose. Like this life is very short, and I think that we shouldn't take anything in it for granted, whether that be people, moments, games, even the smallest of things. So I think that's one thing that football's taught me.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for us today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.